decent competition.
Sort of guy. But Macon has a pretty fair record of 3-1-1 himself, so we'll find out just how good Lyakovich is. I haven't seen him, but I've heard about him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. You know anything about him at all, Carl?
Not really. I just heard some things like this guy is a strong guy. He comes to fight, and he's going to be right there pressing the action, using his jab, and going to bang.
He's a great big guy, 230 pounds. He's the size of all these new super heavyweights. He's young and inexperienced. I don't like the way he holds his hands for starters. But it's sort of that amateurish Russian style of fighting, the way they fight in the amateurs. But he'll learn that he can't hold his hands like that. You see the hands being held high by Donald Macon.
Well, we'll see a little bit about each one of these guys. They both got decent records. And if Macon can bang, you know, this guy is in a position to get hit.
Well, Macon's a banger, but he's been fighting journeyman-type fighters. He's a part-time professional. You see he's not in any kind of condition, and he fights kind of awkwardly, but he's a tough kid. For Lyakovich, he's a big, strong, good-looking kid, and he looks like he's got a future in the heavyweight division. And he's got to get through this very tough kid from Norfolk, Virginia.
As you can see, you know, Lyakovich has got that European-style boxing. He's up in the air, but so does the Klitschko boys, and they're pretty doggone good, too. But I don't know. We're going to see a little bit about what this guy can do here tonight.
It's difficult, you know, if you're standing in front of him, you don't see his feet. You don't even know whether this guy's a left-handed or right-handed fighter, the way he holds his hands. I mean, look at his left hand is down by his hip. The right hand is up high. He jabs with the left hand all right. A good body shot that time. And I tell you, if I was fighting the guy that looked like Macon, I'd go to that belly too. Oh, a big, hard shot to the solar plexus. Blood trickling from the nose, it looks like of Lyakovich.
Well, Macon, I don't know how long Macon's been here, but you think he's been to the celebrity buffet by any chance?
Well, I tell you, he probably could, because they really feed you here at the Grand Casino. But that aside, he's a pretty tough kid to get in with a guy that looks like the intimidation factor that Lyakovich could put out. He reminds you a lot of the great big guy from Poland, huh?
Well, you know what? I think he reminds me more of the Klitschko brothers. It's kind of tall.
The style, yeah.
Yeah, the style is absolutely correct, like Andrew Galata. But I tell you what, you know, these guys are these prototype heavyweights in the late 1990s, going into the new millennium. Are really big, 6'5", 6'6", 240 plus. You never know.
Now that's another digging body shot. He knows what he's doing in there. Had an extensive amateur career. And I'll tell you, this other kid, Macon, who doesn't look like a fighter, reminds me of the first time I saw Tony Tubbs fight. This is a guy that had a lot of ability. There was a great big guy that could fight. Macon looks like a guy who's as tough as nails hanging in there with this guy. Lyakovich hasn't been able to hurt him yet.
I think Tony's going to be a little upset with you, Colonel, but nonetheless.
I'm talking about the first time I saw him. I had great respect. I mean, this is a guy that went on to become the WBA heavyweight champion of the world. But Tony, when I first saw him, and he didn't look like an athlete, nor does this guy, but he's tough. He's hanging in there. He's by the first round against a guy that looks like a real warrior. Look at Lyakovich. Don't tell me he's another one of these head kicks. You see him staring at the guy?
You know, this is interesting because Donald Macon, you never know what happens here. But again, he's not sitting down right. The stool is too far away from the corner.
That left hook isn't doing the damage you're supposed to do. It's because you're falling away from it. You're falling away from it. All right. You're not. You're standing up instead of no. Keep the water. You're standing up instead of doing this. Okay. You'll knock him out if you hit him with that shot that we've been working on. Okay. Now the right hand has never gone.
You notice that, Colonel? How far away from the corner pad that stool is? That's not a good sign for any corner.
Well, it's an inexperienced corner. Obviously, they didn't have the stool in there in time. They wasted about 10 seconds of the guy's rest time. But we'll see how it goes here. I gave Lyakovich the first round. 10-9, more aggressive, landed more blows. All right, here we go. Round number 2. Opportunity to see one of the young Russian heavyweights in action as he digs to the body again. Macon stands right in front of him. He's not a difficult target to hit.
I'm kind of interested in seeing what Macon's corner was talking about, that shot they've been working on for that's just going to knock this guy out. I'd like to see that come into fruition at some point, at least attempt to throw it. I can't imagine what that might be.
Well, this kid's just a big, tough kid, I'll tell you right now. Lyakovich having difficulty hurting him. Well, and you take a look at this Lyakovich in the green trunks, a big, tall, good-looking kid. He looks like, just by looking at you, that he could intimidate most fighters in there. Ooh. Oh, he caught him with a pretty good left hand.
You know, and he
tough
took
that
it.
is?
Yeah, and I tell you what, Macon took that pretty good too. He didn't buckle, didn't waver, didn't quiver, didn't shiver. This guy's really doing it.
His eyes are wide open. He's totally focused, but he's not doing enough to win the rounds. He just almost looks like he's trying to survive against the great big guy from Belarus. Let it pronounce it Belarus.
Well,
I've been there anyway. I've been to Russia.
Have you?
Before the wall came down, too. I got some good stories about that to tell you.
Well, I don't think I'm going to go. That's one stamp that won't be in my...
Whoa!
Ooh,
Got him
there
good.
it goes.
He's in trouble. And down he goes. He won't be able to recover. He's knocked out cold.
That's it.
Counts up to 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. It'll go 7.
Oh.
It's up to 8. He gets back up. His head's... Boy, oh boy, he's still staggering around. He really shouldn't let this fight continue. He's out on his feet right now.
I don't believe
He's coming towards him, and he lets it go. And then he comes, nails him, and down he goes again. And that's it. Finally, the referee, Raymond White, stops the fight. He gave Macon the opportunity to have another shot, but he's hurt right now. He's quivering all over. The doctor should come right in there and take a look at him. So we had the opportunity to get a look at Serguei Lyakovich. All right, a big knockout for Lyakovich, so he did what he had to do. Good-looking big heavyweight, and when it came time for the power was there. My goodness gracious, for a while there, it looked like Macon was one of these tough kids that didn't look like an athlete, but was better than he was. This is a good-looking kid, and with a little bit of training and some work, he's going to be a pretty good heavyweight, it looks like. It's difficult to tell against a guy like Macon, who's a tough guy. You don't know how good an athlete he is at all. But one thing for sure, Lyakovich, when it came time, was able to land the big shot.
Look at this. There was a left hook to the temple. It kind of staggered him a little bit. Looks like that's the one that did the damage. And you know what? The referee stepped in and prevented another punch, but yet he let the fight continue.
Well, we mentioned before that this referee is obviously inexperienced. He missed the knockdown in another fight. He stepped in here in the middle of the action. Now, if he was going to do that, he should have stopped the fight immediately. Instead, he lets this guy get back up, and then the guy's staggering on his feet. He wasn't standing far enough back away from him. It's an inexperienced referee and dangerous for a fighter like that. Very dangerous.
Dangerous referee, period.
All right, we're waiting for Jimmy Lennon. He seems to be ready. We'll make it official. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time is 1 minute 41 seconds in round number 2. The winner by way of knockout and still undefeated, Serguei Lyakovich.
All right, Carl, we'll take a look at this knockdown again.
Now mind you, see, is that
that's the end of the fight?
Well, we didn't get a chance to see the punch, but it was a short left hook. Maybe we can take a look at that again. If not, that's fine too. But that was we're going to take a look at this as our producers in the truck has indicated. You get a chance to see the last knockdown, left hook right behind the ear, the temple area out. That was a punch, in my personal opinion, that need not have to happen. It's far better to stop a fight one punch too soon than one punch too late. Thank God Donald Macon is okay, and he's up on his feet. But this guy, Lyakovich, is really looks like a bright prospect, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future.
All right, so it's been an interesting night of boxing here. Everybody did what they were supposed to do. The champions won. The heavyweights who are looking